Let them know.
Hey y'all. I'll never go live, so get used to it. Getting ready to start something new.
Episode 1.
Episode 1 of Sara Explains It All.
That's Sara.
That's it all. Got me a little drink here. Got me a Moscow Mule. And she's drinking Powerade and
Water.
Yeah, I'm not even drinking Powerade.
And this is the rawest episode because I'm going to be getting up because my kids.
So this is the beginning podcast of Sara Explains It All. We're going to touch on some genuine issues, some important stuff, growth, living life, death, relationships, and it's all speaking candidly from my own experiences and allowing my audience to chime in. So that's what we have going on. We're going to try something new today. This is, again, the first episode, so we are not as ready professionally or got it all set up, all fancy and stuff. So as we evolve, it'll get better. So we're going to have some interruptions. We got some little people running around. It's kind of hard to tell a 2-year-old
Right.
To sit still. He's got his grandma here.
And it's might need a reading. We can do readings on here too.
I did. Okay. Good. So today's topic is going to be, once everybody chimes in, we're going to be talking about the importance of mother-daughter relationships, the strain of it, and how important it is for us in the Black community to repair those relationships and the things and the behaviors that cause those relationships. That's what we're going to touch on. And as always, I'm going to love for other people's input. And I hope through this journey that we can help somebody else. So you see us together. You didn't see that before, for a long time. So that's what we are talking about, and how healing is important and how we can grow.
Absolutely. And I hope, is everybody skipping? I just want to make sure because I forgot the reception. I should have had Wi-Fi. Just see what everybody else, because one person, Mickey, she said that it's skipping. Well, she said mine is skipping. So I want to know if everybody else's is skipping.
Can y'all hear good? And
so
see
if it's
good?
Skipping, let us know now so we can connect to Wi-Fi. Popcorn.
Nika, don't you start. I'm gonna get back into that. I'm gonna get back into it.
What, making a popcorn? Mm-hmm. Oh. Kind of popcorn. Talking about the cream?
When I had the sour cream, the Grippos popcorn. Okay. She liked the Grippos. I had a lot of different flavors going. I was hustling that for a while. What not to make? I was gone with that. Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's okay.
Is everybody okay?
Ain't nobody else saying nothing, so I'm gonna just hop right in.
So again, as we are here before you, is this seriously just because we have been staggered in our lives because of the relationships and accountability and toxicity and the things that are passed up and down through the families. So she and I have had a strained relationship off and on for a long time. Now, I will say that she's my first child. I was a teen mother, and it was fun. It was great. I loved being her mother. I was very excited about being a mother at a young age. And I think that I did so many things right, so much better than some people. But I also did a lot of things wrong. And so some things that were passed down to me, I turned around and did the same exact thing when my goal, the whole journey, was to not be that way. So the first thing is, a lot of you that know us know that there's been, like, you see some things on Facebook or some subliminal posts or some direct post right here, and I never responded to it. And for me, that's another thing that I want to touch on with this subject is how we just shut down and we don't communicate at all. Even when I feel like she's an effective communicator and I'm an effective communicator, but we're not communicating good together.
And it's not just her, because I'm not a good. I have communication issues just in general with people. I have problems with expressing myself. So it's not just her, but we definitely have communication issues with each other. But I also just know that I have it in general. So
my thing is, I hear this term or this cliche often with people when you enter into relationships, whether it's a new relationship, an old relationship. People say you got baggage. You got baggage. And when I entered this relationship with my daughter, meaning when she was born, I already had baggage. So the thing is with baggage, I want you to come with it, but the behaviors that come with your baggage is what's not acceptable, because every single person has baggage. So I just feel like my hurts, my pains, and the things that happened to me and the strain in my relationship with my mother, my goal, verbally, I always told her as she was growing up, I don't want to be like that. I don't want us to bicker. I don't want us to separate. I don't want us to, and then in the process, even though my issues with my mother are separate issues from my issues with my daughter, it's still connected in some kind of way. And even though there are excuses and reasons for a strained relationship, it's not an excuse to not have the relationship. So I just think that I was hurt and living in my hurt and dwelling in my hurt and pity, even though people saw me on the outside. I lived in it, and a lot of my hurt came from some things that we endured, but I was hurting her in the process, and I was hurting myself. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It takes a long time for you to grow up and realize that your parents were kids at one point. So we do a lot of blaming and I hate you and you ain't nothing basically.
I hope I didn't say I hate you.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I just mean in my mind as somebody growing up, I never use the word I hate her, but I'm just using it as an example. Like we just forget that our parents have issues and that they grew up with certain things that we don't know about. They didn't tell us the whole story. Just like, my kids might not know the whole story, to everything. So yeah, I definitely know that like that for me was like a issue, it definitely causing communication problems with us because it took me a long time to understand. I'm 31 now, but 10 years ago, there was no listening. There was no understanding. It was screw you. You don't understand me. You don't get me, as if she wasn't at that age at one point. So,
and this is something, honestly, I'm gonna just put it out there because it can happen in any household. I had a great family. I did. I had a great. My mother was as good as she can be. Everybody has issues. I had a great father. I had a great stepfather. I had a great grandmother, grandfather. The thing is, instead of arguing or being loud or being able to address an issue, you just go silent. We would go radio silent. There would be 2 or 3 awful texts, and then there's a block, and I am the queen of blocking. I will block. Listen, because I feel like I don't have to let that stuff come to my phone. I don't need to read it, and I don't need to process it. So it's blocked. And then we won't speak for a long time. And it's unacceptable for me because I don't get to see the grandbabies. I don't get to see my own child and then these other siblings that are involved. And these are the behaviors that we want to, because we can blame all day long. And she's right and I'm right, but it's never the action or the hurt that's the problem. A lot of people are not toxic. A lot of relationships are not toxic. It is always the toxic reactions. People don't understand that because people use that term so loosely. She's toxic, he's toxic. That's not always the case for everybody because people are really good people, and they're not toxic, but they have toxic relationships with toxic reactions to the relationships. I know that my opinion really, really, really matters to my children. If I tell them the shirt that they have on is ugly, that's the end of the day. It's over. And I love that they respect me like that and they love my opinion. But if they think that I'm mad at them or if they think that I'm looking at them in a different way, they cannot handle it. And I think that that is something that we need to work on. And the same for me. If I think that my children are not approving of me, I'm not happy. I'm just not happy. I don't want anybody to ever think that I'm a bad mom, or my children to think that I'm a bad mother. I want them to love me and think that I'm the greatest, because I see so many other relationships like that. But that's not really the case, because we're on the outside looking in, right? Because I know a lot of people, I thought that they were the greatest family ever, and at the end of the day, they had the same issues that she and I have. It's just that we have a different reaction to the same issues that so many families have. Yep.
No family is perfect. It's so much more worse issues out there that we don't even have. So, I just feel like these are topics that need to be talked about. It's like, whether you Black, white, Mexican, it doesn't matter. Every single family has these problems, has these issues. But the Black family specifically just doesn't like to talk about them. Everything is just brushed under the rug, and we continue the generational curses. But it's just like, when are you willing to break that curse? When do you stop and realize that this isn't how I want to continue? Because if we continue communicating in a toxic way, then who's to say me and my daughter wouldn't have done the same thing? That's exactly what's going to end up happening. Then I'm just continuing the cycle. So it definitely takes, realizing and self-accountability on both ends to know, like, this isn't okay. We love each other enough to be able to work past this? Some people don't. I'm not gonna sit here and say everybody can. Some people don't have it. But if you really truly have that love, you guys can get through it. Just like in a relationship. You can do that. It's awesome. Oh, okay. I was reading that comment.
So here's my thing. There's always going to be an issue. There's always going to be something going on. I just know from our experience, because I know that a lot of you that are watching, or that are going to go back and watch this, that know us personally, are going to say, hey, I saw, you remember a post that she might have made just through the years. You're going to remember a post. And I have had some friends, and I'm not going to name that one friend. She never comes and tells me specific or screenshots anything, but she'll say, I am praying for you and your daughter, and then I'll know that something's being said. Or this one time I saw something on TikTok, and it was almost a joke to me. But whenever I see the statuses that she posts, they're not really as extreme as she is, but that's when I know that my daughter is needing me the most. So if I hear that there's a status, I know that there's going to be a break. There's a breakdown. And the one thing that I can say through the blockage, through the not talking, through everything, and I can say this for my mother as well, because we've gone through the same thing. I know that she knows that once she picks up that phone and calls me, the gloves are off. She knows she's safe. Yeah. It's just a matter of getting to the point, who's going to call who first. And that is what I honestly don't like that. I just know that my goal is always, she's going to call. When she calls, I'm ready to answer.
My frustration has been, it seems like it's always me, because my mom is stubborn. I'm stubborn, but she can, if she's not talking, she's just not going to talk. But it's not a I hate you kind of stubborn either. Because if I knock on her door, she's going to open the door. She's never shut her door and be like, oh, no, we got into it. She would never shut her door on me. It's just that she's not going to rush to unblock you either if she ain't in the mood to talk. So it just, if you can get in contact with her, you'll be all right. I'm just saying.
That's so extreme. It does. But that's what I do. That's what I've watched. I've seen other family members.
But that's a toxic reaction.
Absolutely, that is a toxic reaction, and that is not okay. I mean, even if, because we just talked about this, if somebody is on their way to shutting you out, and you send a message or you make a phone call that says, hey, let's talk about this, or I hope you have a great day. You did your due diligence. You did what you were supposed to do, so it didn't end toxic. Or at least we're trying not to have it in that way. Let's not, do it that way. But I mean, I've been hurt. I feel like as a parent, and that's something else that our kids don't understand. Just me speaking as an adult, and I'm speaking to my peers. I have been hurt by, our children hurt us. They crush us. Whether it's they come home with a bad report card, or, they get in trouble at school, or they're dealing and socializing with people that you wouldn't necessarily deal with. It's a hurtful thing, because with me, when it comes to my children, I'm very, very loyal. And I mean my children, my stepchildren. I mean everybody. If you mind, you mind. So that shuts me down. If we're not in agreement, or we're not on the same page, or what I deem as disrespectful, just go to 10.
Yeah.
And I prefer the silence versus the arguing. I prefer the silence versus the profanity. Or that's why you'll see her post something and I'll know that it's posted and I won't say anything. You'll never get a reaction out of me. I don't even go on, and I don't even, the old me, the immature person would have went on and said, I know y'all saw this post, did my daughter post? I don't even do that. I don't even respond to it. I do know that there's people that see me out that are her friends. They will literally, well, okay. Well, her associates, absolutely right. Because I feel that way versus the first, the first I have. But they give me the side eye. They don't have the same story. They don't have the whole story. They're getting one side of the story. And the thing is, in our community, especially now, and I know some people that know my background or know her background. When I say the Black community, I mean that in every way. I do. That's a whole nother subject that we're going to touch on another time. But it is very, very important for mothers and daughters to have those good, wholesome relationships in our community. There's so many bad things that are going on. There's so many, wow, Sierra just touched on this. There are just so many things that can harm our children. We hear a lot. I'm the mother of all sons. All I have are boys. Grandsons, it's always one granddaughter, one daughter. But our Black women are at risk too, and it is important for us to embrace our children and our daughters and keep them safe and teach them the right way and have those wholesome relationships. Because one day she's going to be sitting right here. If I'm lucky, I'll be in the background behind, and her daughter will be sitting here, and it'll be a good conversation. So that's the goal, because I do not. My granddaughter is already. Can you believe it? My granddaughter is already well on her way to a young adulthood. So we want to avoid those interactions. We want to avoid her having the same things that we have.
It'll kind of remind you of the Red Top Table, how Jada, her mom, and Willow, just kind of like that, with my daughter, because that's how it'll be. It'll be 3 generations, and then it could be 4 if we get, ma'am.
Oh, I don't know about that. And that is another thing. Somebody tells my mother. My goal is, because me and my mother, I don't say enough about her. Nobody knows if we're speaking or not speaking, if we're getting along. I just want to clear the air when it comes to that. I was raised by a great mother. Everybody, that was part of my village. I had a village growing up. So, but I love my mother dearly, and we work daily on better days. We don't bicker, fuss, fight, or anything like that, but we have had a strained relationship as well. So I just think it's important for everybody to just be on the same page eventually and get along. And so much bad things going on. If I really, really, really coming off the cusp of a lot of grief. I've battled and dealt with grief for a long time, but I also know that I have some people in my circle or in my family that don't have a mother anymore. And that's something else that's important to me. I don't ever want a day to come, because we just live in that type of world now, where I wasn't able to say the things that I need to say to my daughter, or she's not able to say the things for me. And if I have to leave this earth, hopefully it's before her, and she has all the tools that she needs and all the information that she needs from me. Because it could have been a time where we weren't speaking. Yep. And I could have been out of here.
Same to me. And that's where my frustration comes in, because you just don't know. You don't know the time, you don't know the day, and to not talk to your mom or be into it with your mom, and you have no idea. You know what I'm saying? Like, you literally just don't know. Like, that would crush me. Like, imagine how bad that pain is gonna feel if you get and you find that out. You know what I'm saying? We've had a lot of pain like that in our family. So that would have been like the worst thing. So that's one of those things that kind of always snap me out of it, because it's like, that's not worth being into it with my mom about. Because I go out, she goes out. This is Indianapolis. A lot of things that happen. It's just not worth it to be into it with your parents. Or with anybody that you love. Honestly, it's not about just your parents. With anybody that you love, it is not worth it at all. Because you literally, with the losses that we took, we didn't know that was our last time talking to them. Trust.
Absolutely.
That's the part that hurts the most.
I can remember one time It was 2017. I had to have my gallbladder out, and she and I were not speaking. And I went into surgery. Did I come out of surgery, or was it before?
Oh, that one time
we weren't speaking.
Oh yeah,
but she showed up at. I don't even know how she even because Sierra has 18 profiles. She know what goes on in my life.
You don't.
You don't?
I promise to God, I don't.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. Mail is there, remember?
No, not when I had my gallbladder surgery.
Whichever one I brought flowers and remember Mike
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
James, it was somebody that told me. It was a word of mouth that said your mama's having surgery.
Okay.
Yeah.
The point is, we were not speaking, and I looked up and she was there. And it was kind of like, hey, but it was still a warming feeling because I'm like, okay, well, at least I know. Because some people don't even have that. They don't even have that grace. I knew that, okay, I'm sick. I'm going through this process. She showed up. It made me feel good at the end of the day. I've done that with my mother. And the irony of that is my mother had her gallbladder out and we weren't speaking. And I was sitting right there with her. So I just think it's important for us to get past, move past, grow past. I look in the mirror every single day now at the ripe age of 49, and I love what I see in the mirror. I don't look backwards. For me, I don't need anybody to tell my story for me. I don't need a narrator. I can tell you everything that I did and didn't do and can be as sincere and give you all the information. But that person that I was, I'm not there anymore. So many things are more important to me now. And I just think while she went away to Washington, we weren't speaking. She moved away. We weren't speaking. And I'm just going to say this too, because sometimes in a lot of ways, Sierra is she's so spoiled. She was supposed to be the only child, y'all. I'm just going to tell y'all that. She was supposed to be the only child. It didn't work out for her. But while she was in Washington, I always knew she was coming back. I didn't fear. I wasn't fearful. I wasn't like, oh, I can't sleep. I haven't talked to my daughter. It was kind of like I'm preparing her for when she comes back. So if she comes back, I'm ready for her. And that's kind of the way that's actually the way it happened. While she was there and going through whatever she went through, adjusting and not adjusting at the same time, I was laying the foundation for her to come back because I knew, from what I hear, I've never been to Washington State. It's beautiful. One of my best friends, she's there. She moved literally right behind her. But I knew she was going to come back because I knew that the way that she left, you have to really close out. You have to be closed out properly. And so I knew she was going to come back. So I was ready for her to come back. So in closing on this topic, I just really, really, really want to encourage all mothers and daughters and even sons. We'll touch on that another time.
Yeah.
But this is my strained relationship. This is the relationship, and this is why it is important for us to not be teen moms. I'm not saying every teen mom goes through, because I just said I did it great. My mother and grandmother used to compliment me on how great I was with my child and how much of a good mother. And I have been complimented through the years. But I failed miserably at times too. And I dropped the ball many times. But this is what is just important. It's very, very important. It's healing for your heart. It's so when I'm gone, I don't want my daughter to be here grieving and saying, I wish I had done X, Y, and Z, or vice versa. It's just, life is just crazy now. But I mean, closing out, I just want to encourage anybody that has those strained relationships with their daughter, whether it's the daughter that reaches out to you that I'm speaking to, or it's the mother. Reach out and fix it. I remember telling my husband last week, say sorry now, even if you didn't do anything wrong. Like, fix it immediately, because relationships are strained in families, especially with mothers and daughters and siblings. But being a teen mom is a whole nother thing. I grew up with her. She made me a grandmother in my 30s. My son and her daughter are not very far apart in age. Work on it, fix it, take accountability, say sorry. don't let it go far, because you just never know now. Honestly, I mean,
We just living in trying times, y'all. You know, living in. I mean, we always are, but it's just not supposed to be this way. It's not supposed to be this way. You want to try your hardest if you can to do right by your parents. I'm not saying that's gonna always be the case for everybody, but if you can fix it, I'm just saying fix it. Just because it's just not worth it. And if people have seen our story, people have seen definitely me post screaming for attention. Anytime I go out my way to make a post, which is not often, but when I did do it, I could count on my hand. Each one of those times, I did that specifically to get somebody to screenshot it. My intention, my sole purpose was to get it screenshotted. I wasn't doing it because I'm just, oh no, I'm venting. No, I want y'all to show this to her because I'm literally screaming for attention from her. Like, I need her to reach out to me. I need her to talk to me. Because at the end of the day, sometimes you just want your mom. When I was in Washington, you know, that was a life changing, 5 months for me. You know, I packed up my whole family, left, and now I'm going through a divorce. And I'm very transparent and open about that. But as I was on the brinks of that divorce, I realized that the one person that I need the most was my mom. Because nobody else's mom, nobody else's family members was going to be able to feel what I was feeling and understand what I was going through, because they family going to ride for them. So I literally had nobody but to turn to but my mother with going through the divorce. So coming back, like she said, she felt it, she knew it, you know, whatever the case may be, it was all in the plan. It was a part of what we had to go through. Me to be gone, us not to talk. We didn't talk the whole time I was there. And then the whole time I was there, I would think of pictures I wanted to send her or videos or FaceTimes. Never did. Never got to. Maybe towards my last couple days or something. Mm-hmm. But that was it. You know, it's just unfortunate. But I came back and this is where we are. Started over from ground one. And most people probably wouldn't have saw this one coming if they know the story. And a lot of people that follow and that are nosy,
did you see his stepfather? What is it? He said Michael O'Connor wants to join you.
Husband. Not he wants to join.
He's so funny. Let me share it.
Trying to join this.
He's so cute. So honestly, this is just something that has just been on my heart, and it's been brewing in me for a long time. And so we are so bound. We are bound by what we've been through. We are bound by our hurt, that we hurt the people that love us. That is what I don't want to do. I want to hurt because we're supposed to hurt. That's part of life. But I also don't want to have that toxic explosion or that toxic reaction to my hurt, and then I project that on my kids, especially with her.
Because so it has lingered. Because of that I have lingered that into my relationships. Mm-hmm. And not to say stuff just be solely on me, because that's not the case. But I am very aware that I have reacted in some ways where I have to catch myself and say, I'm doing what my mom does, and that I don't like her to do. Mm-hmm. All those times I get mad because she's yelling, here I am screaming and yelling. And I'm like, why am I screaming and yelling? But these are just habits that you pick up on. You can say all day, I'm not nothing like my mom. I'm not nothing. Yeah, well, you'd be surprised on how much you're like your parents, like for your dad or your mom. Mm-hmm. So, it's important. Yeah, she says I'm just like my dad. But I know that I'm a lot like her too with my reactions. Even my dad had said that. And those aren't things that I'm proud of, but those are things that's what you pick up, you know, from your parents. And that's just what it is. So he just got to be accountable for that. And for me, once I caught it, and it was like, oh shoot, now it's a little bit easier for me to handle it and to fix it. Let's fix it immediately, Sierra. You can't do that. You can't scream at the kids for no reason, or you can't just get to doing that because you're mad. Like, that doesn't help the situation. So yeah, stuff that we pick up on, toxic traits. It happens.
And then on top of, for me, I'm not going to say that I was a single parent, because I was married for a lot of years raising her to my first husband. But what I will say is I was still mentally a single parent. Mm-hmm. I was still a single parent. And we have work, we have bills, we have our own childhood traumas and our own childhood situations. And we say verbally that we don't want our children to endure what we endured, or we don't want our children to go through. See, the one thing that maybe you did a little, Sierra, because we had a village. I had a village growing up. I had my whole entire family that looked out for me, from my cousins, you know, my aunts, uncles, grandparents, all of that. But you had a partial village.
Yeah.
You had a partial village. But I always say my second litter, but my second set of kids, they did not have a village at all. They didn't have even some of the benefits that you had. They might have had more of me, but they had less of a village. And you didn't have as much of me as you. I didn't. Right. That's true. So I just think that it is important for everybody to be on the same page. Where is the village anymore?
No, those villages aren't there anymore because grandparents aren't that anymore. It's not the 40s and 50s, and grandparents are younger. You know, we just made our grandparents younger. So when you don't have, you know, you don't get dropped off at Big Mama's house like it was back in the day when she wasn't working and my mom has to go to work.
Well, when you had a grandmother since I was 36, 36, 37, I was a grandmother. And I remember one time, she's like, "You're a bad grandma."
I said
several times. And I'm like, how can I be a good grandmother? I mean, my grandmother was retired, you know? So when I moved here from Los Angeles, my grandmother was already retired. And she was able to give us the full love and attention. And the same for you. She was able to give you all of her time and her love, and the rest of my cousins and your cousins. But yeah, I can't be a great grandmother right now. It's impossible. I'm nowhere near retirement age at all. So I might want to go out. I might want to. Listen, I'm going to tell you guys a story that is so funny to this day, just regarding being a young grandmother. I can remember what I was doing, where I was standing. So I was getting ready for going out to the club. And I was in my apartment.
The Elks.
It wasn't the Elks because they were closed.
The wagon.
The wagon. What? That's from the 90s. Way back. Okay. So I was getting ready, and I was getting dressed and doing my makeup. I had my music in the background. This was a long time ago. Milan's 11, so she's getting ready to be 12. Yeah. So this was before Milan. It was actually 2010, 2011. I had my drink poured. I had probably smoking a cigarette because I used to smoke those stuff. I don't anymore for a long time. But so I was in there getting ready and grooving and prepping, and my mother calls and she's like, "What you doing?" And I was like, "Getting ready." She could hear the background noise, and my kids were back there bopping around or whatever. And you were 19 when you
18. Well, I was 18.
18 when she got pregnant. And so my mother was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Getting ready to go to the club," pumped up. And so my mother abruptly changed. And so my mother I don't know if it was just because she didn't want to never upset us. When I say us, I mean me and my brothers and sisters. But she's usually on board. If I was like, "I'm going to the club," she's like, "Oh, have a good time." You know, she didn't say that. She said, "Sarah," I hate the way she says my name. But she said, "Sarah," and she's like, "You really need to get it together." And I was like, "What? Not right now, Mom. It's like 10 o'clock. I'm like, "Get to the club, I'm getting dressed." So she's like, "You can already be a grandmother, and you got a 5-year-old. Was Joey 5? 5 or 6 or 7. Okay, so but she's named Joey's age. I think it was 5 going to 6 or whatever, but he was little. So she's like, "You need to get it together. You're about to be a grandmother." And I literally. I knew she was expecting, but it was like, it hit me. I hadn't even finished or repaired or even fixed the damage that we had done to each other, or my part of the damage that I did to her. I continued to get ready. Whatever I said to my mother, I brushed it off. Whatever it was, I went to drink some more. But while I was in the club, I was sick, y'all. I'm like, I'm 36 years old, and I got a baby of my own. Like, now she's having a baby, and the words are still in my head. Those profound moments in your life, you will never forget the verbiage. You will never forget the tone. But my mother said, "You are about to be a grandmother. You need to settle down." It messed me up because I didn't even get a chance to repair what was broken here. Before we bring another girl. And I don't know what. Listen, for you women who have all girls, that's not in the cards for me. I literally
in the cars for me either. God knew I begged them.
Baby, that first baby is a girl. That's it. And I have natural born. The rest of my kids are boys, honestly. And the same for her. And I only have one granddaughter. I have a slew of grandsons, and that's just that. But it messed me up because I hadn't even accepted or oh no, I guess she's pregnant. Whatever, I'm going to the club. But it resonated that day, and it set me down. I didn't dance. I don't think I had a drink after that. It set me down, and it made me think. And even from that very day in 2010, 2011, I can remember my thought process in the club. If you've ever been around a friend who daydreams all the time, that's the way I was doing in the club with the loud music. It looked like I had took a pill or I was rolling because I couldn't get it together. I couldn't gather my thoughts properly. And here we are 11 years, almost 12 years later, and it's just time to stop. I have my granddaughter. She's, growing into a young woman now. I don't want a strained relationship with her. And what I do love is she loves me regardless. I think that's the one thing that has been like the underlying foundation. Have you ever been around somebody where they talk about somebody like a dog and then they be like, but I love her? That's kind of where it is. Like when you peel away all the layers, the love is there for us. I have been around families who don't have the love.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I feel like we're good. I do.
Yeah.
I have a lot of great memories with you.
Yeah.
And let me just say, when I'm with her, I'm not my age.
No.
Because she grew up with me. I'm 3.
Yeah,
maybe 5 when we're together.
We talk in our Australian accents. We are Steve Irwin fans. I mean, I never, I guess, really looked at it like that, but we did grow up with each other, and a lot of the shows, she knows the shows that I mean, it's just
because that was our jam.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, it's the same with my daughter. There's some shows she watches, and me and her can laugh at some cartoons, but I'm always watch cartoons. But and I can honestly say, and we'll get to the deeper topics on other episodes, but I had a great, up until certain points, but I had a great childhood. I had extravagant Christmases. Some people I can't relate to them when they don't know, because I'm like, well, I was always dressed really nice. And so when I look back at my mom's age, I wonder how she did it. Especially times was way different. Money wasn't as much. And yet I thought she was rich or something, because I always had nice clothes. I always had nice shoes. I always had a nice bedroom, which is why I care so much about my living space, or, just things like that, how things actually look, because it makes you feel good when you get to come home from school and your room is all Hello Kitty or all Lion King or all pink or whatever. That's how she had it for me. She had it laid out, and she was just very anal about it being nice and not being messy, even though I still was.
She is the boy of the family.
Yeah, not so much anymore.
Not now, but younger, growing up.
Yeah, I definitely was. But it's that's just I had it great. I had it great. She did a great job for those first. She did a great job being a mother. It's just we just ended up having issues that came along. But I can't complain. I really can't complain about that, because it was some great times that I had with her for sure. Let me go check on the baby.
So if I can, this is something that I want to continue. I want to be very, very candid, very raw. It's going to get more personal as time goes on. We're going to speak on some serious issues. And so now I feel like it's our community, because you guys know me. We're right here. Just kind of want to fix some of the things that we can fix that are broken. We have so many issues that are plaguing our community right now and our families. It's not going to always be perfect, but we are really, really in a battle, in a war. And the goal will always be to fix it. I just remember just being so stubborn and distant and not wanting to face my problems head on. These comments, y'all. Hello. Hey, how y'all watching? Tasha. I see all of you guys. Anyway, I'm sorry if you guys have commented and I haven't been able to really say much. Oh, I don't have my glasses. Y'all gonna make me dig in my purse and get my glasses because I am legally blind. But thank you for that last comment right there. I do want to be transparent. That is my goal. That is what I'm going for, and I feel like for those who know me, to know where I come from to where I'm landing is very, very, very important. And I just want everybody to be encouraged. I want everybody to fix what's broken. We have so many good topics coming, but I had to heal. I had to hurt and I had to heal. And everything is not for TV. Everything is not for the internet. But for those who do know me or know my daughter, you've seen some of the statuses that have been posted, and they've been pretty raunchy or pretty hurtful. You can make it pass, because I feel like when I would see it, I'd be like, oh, there's no coming back from that. Why would she even post some stuff like that? Why would she even say that? But at the end of the day, hey, man, that hurt is what offers. You can say, hey, guys. Got some grands in here. You want to say hi to everybody? Another generation here. Say hi, Milan. This Milan is my grandbaby. She's been holding it down, helping us out with her little brothers. Getting snacks. But yeah, the goal is for every week, maybe twice a week. And I also want to have people that I have a familiarity with, meaning somebody that I personally know, somebody that I've had an experience with in life, so that we can talk. And we don't always have to agree, because Sierra and I still don't. We still don't. But the thing is, I have her with me. I have her in my life. I have her where I'm able to grasp her. And me speaking as a mother to the young ones, to the daughters, it is very, very important to listen to your mothers. It is very, very important to embrace your mothers. Even if you don't like what they say, it's very, very important to heed and listen to what they're saying, because even though you might not know what your mother's endured or your mother's went through, she might be speaking solely from her own experience, not wanting you to have to go through that experience as well. So listen, because sometimes she don't want to listen, but then she'll come back and say later, boom, I should have listened. So yeah. I mean, I honestly feel like I could have listened to my mother more.
It's our irritation more toward just being told what to do or how to handle something. But when you look at the whole thing, it's like, yeah, your mom's usually never really wrong. It's rare. So she done told me about some flags that I didn't pay attention to, and I'm like, but you have to learn your own lessons too. So that's a part of growing up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think for me, because she's mine, I'm not gonna say, because the relationship, especially when they grow up, it's okay when you're underage or you're under the same roof. But when my daughter grew up and she's dating or she's around other people, I don't think I liked it very much.
Oh, I don't think you had too much. You just didn't. I just think I just never brought nobody around that was even worth it, other than, you know.
Listen, my radar is, I'll be like, I don't like them. Yeah. And I think that I recently learned to give fair chances, but most of the time my radar is absolutely spot on. I mean, even if it comes out later on down the road, if I say I don't like you, or I mean, that's even for me and my friendships. Because do you have friendships that you feel like you just was like, you know what, one day you wake up and you kind of like,
you just, for sure. Yeah.
Because I feel like if people, your spouse, whoever you're dating, or a friend, if they don't add any value to your life, you have the conversation with them and you exit. See, me, I learned that going silent is not the answer. That's toxic all by itself. Mm-hmm. I mean, it might be necessary in certain situations, but for me, I'll tell my friend, hey, this is not working for me. You know, and I have friends that I loved and adored that were with me by my side every single day of my life, and I do not speak with them anymore because I feel like they are not I don't want to say the right word because I don't want to like belittle anybody, but I just feel like they weren't conducive for my life.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's okay to say. Some people aren't. I'm not obligated to stay friends with you or have you in my life just because of the time we know each other or because of what, some people, their friendship expires. That's just what it is. A lot of friends are just as toxic and negative. And if you're going to be negative all the time, I do not want nobody around me that's going to constantly nag or be negative or just down. Like, I hate that. I've already went through that in my early 20s. My whole 20s was negative. I'm ashamed of some of the stuff that I went through and put myself in with people. I'm truly ashamed, but it happened, and I'm 31, and I know I'm not going to do that again, or allow this person to come back around in my life for me to do that again. So you have to go through those lessons, but some friends or people that you're cool, they are just not, they're not meant to be.
And she is very vocal when it comes to telling me who she likes and nobody in my life.
But I can't keep that for myself. I'm so good at giving people advice or tell her like, oh, I got bad, energy from your friend or whatever. But then I turn around and I allow people that have repeatedly screwed me over, and we'll get, that on another
and
topic.
That's the rub for us right there. If I say, like, what do you mean? It's like instant.
I have to forgive everybody, and that's something that I have that's deep rooted. It goes further, but I feel like I forgive the worst people in the world. And I have an issue with, no matter how bad you do me, I think that it's still okay to bring you around. And that's not okay.
And that's where we're different. Because for me, it's a wrap. I am going to cut you off. I am not going to talk to you anymore. I do not want you. Don't even speak to me. Don't even speak to me. I don't want to talk to you. The people that I love, some people that I actually love, I won't speak to. It's not always okay to cut people off, but it is okay to dismiss people from your life. And I'm very, very, very dismissive, and I'm very just spot on when I say, I don't want to deal with X, Y, and Z for me. And she laughs at me sometimes because I'll be like, oh, I don't talk to her. She's like, of course you don't. Yeah, seriously. And that's another thing. I don't think it's okay for her to, no. If I say I want to talk to somebody, that doesn't surprise you. No. Is that a good thing?
It's just me knowing you. It's just me knowing you, and then they person, especially if I've been around them, if I knew their personality, I know what it's gonna rub with you and what's not gonna sit with you too long.
Or it won't last for long. Like, seriously, I am like the friend person. My mother used to say, where did she come from? Oh, I met her such and such. I just met somebody.
Which is completely opposite for me.
Listen,
the few that I've only had a handful, but I don't usually have friends. But I've just made, other than my best friend who's no longer here, I haven't made really good decisions with bringing women around. But I don't really bring a lot of women around her either. I brought more failed relationships than friends. So,
well, and here, I don't know. Here's the thing for me. That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother segment. You know that. That's going to be a whole nother topic. But I will say that friends, a lot of them, they don't have the best interest at heart. They don't have the best interest at heart. But I'm just gonna say they're envious. They're negative, and you really, really, really have to have good eyesight. Straight up, you have to have good eyesight. I have entertained some of the worst people. Some of the people that some of y'all might think are the greatest people in the world. They're really not, but it's not for me to expose or to say anything. I'm just saying that's not the situation that I wanted to be in. So, but I do have some friends, I think one or two, that I would go back and get.
You did?
I have a couple of friends that I'll go back and get. Where like one of my friends, we had a split recently, but it wasn't really like a bad split. It was just me being expressive. I feel like she was going through something, and she needs to deal with that. And
hey, Tara.
Hey, yeah. So I just feel like some people are okay to bring back into your life. They can come off the bench, and not saying that in a vain way. They have to sit down for a minute. It's not their time yet, or they're not ready to be a good friend because they're in a situation.
Yeah.
I've been that way where I probably shouldn't have been somebody's friend at the time because I was working on some other inner issues. You can't be, because best friend is a loose term. I literally just lost a friend. I don't want to call her best friend because she was like an auntie, right? She was. I feel like she was. Because she was. I never said best friend.
I didn't look at her like that. but that's just because I didn't get to have that closeness.
Mm-hmm.
So that was somebody, she was extremely close. I didn't get to experience that. But no, that was, I could say you could consider that more your family.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't look at that like your friend. That was
no,
somebody
I
that
never
was
did.
like
She was always my family.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Like a distant.
Yeah, because
yeah.
like we would be together, we wouldn't, and it wasn't a big deal if you saw us or didn't saw us. Everybody knew that we were affiliated.
Right.
That's the way. Okay, my grandson he's adjusting things. So he's our cameraman. You can't see him because he's so little, but he's adjusting the lighting for us.
Of course.
But yeah, the importance of friendship and the importance of a bond. There are so many what ifs for me because I feel like there's some things that I could have done to be better or to prepare better or to say I love you more. That's why it's so important right now for us bringing this on the forefront because we're experiencing so many losses, all of us, broadly. And I don't want another what if because somebody that I love dearly is no longer here. I'll never hear that voice again. And I think that's the part that really bothers me or that's the dig the most. And I have to live with that. So this is why we're here today. We hope that we can encourage everybody to fix it.
Absolutely.
Before you don't have the option to fix it.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get to a point where we can bring dads on here too, because dads and their sons have relationships, strained relationships too. You know what I mean? And it's not just mother and daughters, fathers and their sons too. So definitely have a segment where men can talk about that because they deal with it too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's a lot. Like the thing is, the importance is being able to have that family bond all together. You know, just like we shouldn't have to have separate issues like a mother and daughter or a father and son, father and daughter, mother and son. I do have a pretty good relationship with my sons, but that's because they haven't really experienced the world yet. You think so? Because the world can change you. They haven't left the nest.
Yeah, they haven't left the nest.
I believe that it'll probably change once they're gone. For sure. Yeah, so they don't have anybody. Why is he pinching my behind? What's wrong with you? Hello. Yep. So again, we just wanted to kind of like give you the raw version of what's coming. This is just like a pre.
This is what you call not a prototype, but yeah,
it's a rough draft.
Rough draft.
It's a rough draft because it'll get prettier. It'll get better. There'll
be backdrops.
Oh yeah, we'll have backdrops and we'll do. He's part of it, y'all. Just roll it. Look, this little one back.
No, we'll schedule it to where we have babysitters. That's how that'll be. But yeah, that's the first episode, and this is my mom's more her segment, so she might do her own talks without me sometimes, or she might have a friend that she wants to bring on, and it won't be in it. So sometimes I'll be there, but this is her thing. I got my own separate lives because I do readings. Y'all know that I do these readings. I don't want to lose too much of focus on my readings. That's my money. But yeah, make sure y'all tune in and add her. Everybody's watching on my live. Go follow my mom. Sarah Explains It All will be the name, and it's gonna blow up. This is something that she really wants to do, and I support it 100%. And I think she can go far with this. So yeah.
And I hope that we help somebody.
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody. I'm not gonna try to have anybody egging it on or pushing me. My friends would call me and be like, "Girl, she crazy," and then her friends would be like, "Yeah, mama ain't." Instead of just saying go for it, I think I had a few family members or whatever. But the point is, it should be a togetherness. That's the goal, and I hope that she and I reach you and yours. That is the bottom line. And that's it. Sarah Explains It All. Any questions? Anybody have any questions? Thank you all for tuning in. And thank you for your comments. I'm gonna learn how to read the comments as I'm talking to, because you be in that phone like,
it's hard.
I can't do all that. But
it's definitely hard to keep up. But yeah, you guys, if y'all have any questions or anything like that, we're gonna go ahead and end this first episode. So we'll give y'all a second to see if y'all have anything to say, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. So yeah.
That's weird. Yeah. I feel like some people can be so. I see some people that love the distance, or I think that some people like to see people at odds just to have something to talk about.
True. True.
Well, yeah, I see a lot of when people say cut your family off if your mama ain't right, cut her off. If your daughter ain't right, cut her off. I think that's a temporary thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be the end all be all. You know,
No.
when you say cut people off, I don't necessarily like that.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm gonna wrap up on my live. Your live is still going, but yeah, that was our first episode. Sarah explains it all.
Sara explains it all. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and coming up Twitter. What else? Oh, TikTok. This is important. Come over to TikTok. Come on over there. Yes, honestly. Sara explains it all.
Absolutely.
Y'all have a good one. Go back and watch this, and I hope that we reached a lot of people. And I do want to say, for the daughters that no longer have their mothers, our hearts are with you, and this is the pain that we are trying to avoid. Because I could have been very well having another conversation that I wish I hadn't done something. So, goodbye, everybody.